All right, welcome back everyone to the Terps esports stream. My name is Gumi, aka Alex, and I'm joined with...
I'm Tomas. You can find me at Dormat.
And we are back with yet another stream for Overwatch, and it's getting heated here in the NECC competition. We are in quarterfinals
yeah.
as of now. So
it's gonna be us versus Arcadia. I know that we faced them before, and I think the team is just here hoping to end this little bout between the two of them on a positive note as we're entering really the last couple games of the season for these players.
Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the clips from last week just to give you guys some sort of context. So last week was actually UMD suffering their first loss on a map. Loss on a map, not the game. Because as you can see from these clips, these guys did not lose one bit. Starting it off with Speep on Puri, so he was just going absolutely crazy the entire time. I mean, when does he not?
Yeah, I mean, even coming out with these 360 or 180 Deadeyes, I mean, you know that the only time that he uses those to get kills is when he's locked in. So it was prime Speep gaming. And speaking of prime, here we've got Tony. This is him basically saving the map for Terps esports. They were really down to their last limbs in this fight, and you could see how close the payload was. But Tony getting 3 on the flux, basically able to clean up this fight and the round. And oh, what a dirty boo!
He is just such a dirty tank player. He is where he needs to be pretty much every single time, and it's such a treat to watch him play. And we talked about Speep earlier. Here he is again, just perfect shot.
Speaking of treats, I mean, every time that this man touches the keyboard, somebody's dying.
For sure, and I mean, look at them using high noon aggressively. That's not something that you see very often, and so, I mean, these guys, they deserve this win.
Yeah. And this is such a dirty shot.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
I really love, because as much as we talk about Speep and how the enemies can't peek him, I mean, how does he do it? Nasty. I don't know how he does it. I mean, you saw the Sojourn on circuit. She wanted to go for the peek, wanted to get the aggressive angle, and then she sees Speep, and she knows that it's too late. I think
she died.
Yeah.
What's this hashtag? Don't peek Speep.
Yeah. She forgot for just a second, and that's all Speep needs.
Exactly.
Give him an opening, and he will rip that wide open. So
yeah, let's hope he's that locked in for this game specifically as we go against Arcadia. It's going to be a good matchup. I'm actually not too sure what these two teams have to offer, or this other team has to offer. So. Yeah. But they made it here. I mean, quarterfinals of NECC. So
yeah, I know it's definitely going to be a strong team. I mean, Terps esports have been playing so well. They're on a bit of a hot streak. Sorry. So definitely, I don't think I'd want to be Arcadia in this situation, but I think we're going to see some serious Speep gameplay. So
yeah, and all that we will see after this break. So we will see you guys in the booth.
I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Off game, or will Red turn things around?
Terp Adventures. Take flight at Stamp. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body, feed your mind, feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform, find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. with space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
Welcome back, everybody. We will be hopping into the game very shortly. I think that we're gonna. I think our first map is going to be Oasis.
Yeah, Oasis. So, not really a map that we see all that often, right? We
Yeah.
more see like the Lijiang Tower, or honestly, I think we see Nepal more than we see Oasis. But
Yeah.
they did play on Oasis last time, and as we saw, I mean, Tony's Winston was quite a menace.
Yeah.
So if they play that dive comp again, I'm pretty confident then they'll be chilling.
Yeah, for sure. And Oasis is a very good map for dive as well. We don't actually see too many dive-heavy maps in rotation normally. I mean, we see a lot of brawl with like Lijiang. I mean, I would say probably the diviest map that we see is Ishperanza, and you know, normally we don't even we don't get that far. So
yeah, I would also say like Watch Plane Gibraltar, like.
But I feel like we don't see those maps very often.
Which is sad because I love me some dive.
Yeah. No, I think dive is some of the most exciting gameplay. So I'm glad that we're going to be able to see it as we are going right into Oasis. It's going to be City Center for this first objective, and this is arguably the diviest of all of the like the three maps. Yeah, so
sure. I really do hope that we see some dive because it would be fun. And yeah, I mean, they've got Tony in. Tony is like the resident Winston player, whereas Infectious, who's also a tank player, also happens to play more of the Arissa or the Ramatra. So seeing Tony in makes me think we're going to see that Winston, and
and there it is.
Yeah, there it is. I think it is that.
Yep, exactly. And
If we do this right,
ooh, a little interesting. Arcadia is going to be in yellow. Observer
Ooh,
has some interesting settings going on, so keep your eyes out for that. Yellow, this greenish color. Speed is, okay, maybe hopefully Speed's a little bit more serious than we're seeing now immediately, but I don't know. We might be seeing some monkey business as Tony is taking the initial high ground just on top of the point, and since Arcadia is taking this initial fight from the side that they are. It's actually going to be pretty hard for them to dislodge Tony from this initial pillar. They have that tracer that is Aruta trying to pressure him out, but I mean Tony's probably just going to be able to stay there, and he's actually going in now. And we're going to see a javelin spin almost taking him out, but he's able to jump back to safety as UMD is almost able to cap, but they need to be very careful about this tracer because it's chunking missing down, especially with the new passive that DPS have. It can be really easy for Tracer to completely mess up, especially Winston. It's very easy for Tracer to mess with the healing that Winston relies on.
Yeah, and that's the point, sort of kind of goes over to Arcadia's control here. Speed finally finding the first kill of this match. First blood in like, what, maybe 2-3 minutes. That's crazy. Because now this is going to give Terps the ability to walk forward, and Jesus takes out the Lucio. Speed getting pressured by this Orisa. The fight's pretty much over. She knows that she needs to trade to make this worth it, and she's going to be the last to fall in this. And Pumpkin, oh, point dangerously low, will go down. But that's going to be the Terps going to get the first control in this match.
And we really did get to see there how important Tracer is to these comps. Even though, you know, normally you're expecting a Tracer to just go into the backline and pick off a support, you know, one clip of support. But, you know, we saw how much pressure the Tracer was exerting just by, sitting off to the side and shooting the tank over and over. Because as soon as that Tracer went down, Winston was able to just walk into the enemy team. And UMD basically won the point off of that, but we're seeing this Monkey again, hopping onto Pip, onto the Cassidy, forcing them to back up. And this is really the danger of, having a more passive team composition on this map. It's going to be very difficult for Arcadia to actually dislodge UMD off of this point, especially when we're seeing the beat coming down. They can just kind of survive, because even if, it's like a drawn fight, they're the ones with the objective. So UMD is happy to just, keep this fight going without really winning it.
Oh no! Wow, Tony. That was ambitious, to say the least. But it's all calculated. Because look at this stagger. That is a crazy stagger. Pip dying at least 30-20 seconds after the rest of his team, and Speep is chilling. Speep is just chilling with the monkey business, and we are going to see that swap onto the Echo. But these comps are just so different. I mean, Arcadia running with the Orisa versus the Winston. Terps just have so much more mobility and just ability to move around the map and create space for their DPS, whereas Orisa's just kind of stuck to the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm really liking what UMD is doing here, and as we tick up to 84% on this point, this is last fight territory. Arcadia's got to give something.
Yeah, that Kiriko is falling very low, but unfortunately Tony is going to be pressured off of her. Just because of that Orisa, we're going to see a pulse bomb eat from the enemy Orisa, but it's not going to be enough to save the Kiriko, and actually she's going to fall to Pumpkin as well. Pumpkin is going to pick up 2 for the fight, and it's looking like Arcadia is not going to be able to get a capture on this first objective.
Wow, very dominant performance from UMD, not even giving over a single percentage point to Arcadia, and it's definitely, I think the supports take it this time around. I mean, Moose is doing an amazing job keeping Tony alive, because Tony is getting heavily pressured by that Orisa. I mean, that is just her job, right? Run into the other tank's face, spear him to the wall, use her javelin spin to like carry them into the team. But Moose is doing a great job keeping him alive. And then on top of that, Pumpkin countering the beat from Arcadia with his own beat is so important. You need to counter the beat to keep that momentum. So yeah, very well played to those supports.
Yeah, I think another thing that's really important to note is that was the high ground play that we saw from UMD, and really just invalidated the Orisa, and she was never able to, you generally want Orisa to be opening these rounds with picks, and she just wasn't able to do that. But we're going to be seeing a complete swap out of both teams. Symmetra, yeah, exactly, blocking out from Arcadia. Versus, we're actually going to be seeing a Sigma comp coming up from UMD, so a little bit advantageous for Arcadia is they're going to be able to pick off the Baptiste immediately with this initial fight. I don't think UMD was ready for the aggression that they saw.
Definitely an interesting team comp we're seeing from Arcadia. This Symmetra is not something that you see very often, and it honestly might work really well because of Tony's shield. I mean, look at that. They just charge the beam off the shield and they walk forward and Pip. Already getting 2 in this fight with the Symmetra, and that's going to be first capture going on to Arcadia. Finally making some swaps, and the Terps are going to respond accordingly.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing that flip onto Orisa. One could say, oh, they have a Symmetra. You don't want to run, Orisa into Symmetra, but at the end of the day, counter swaps is all about tanks, and we're seeing just the Orisa into the Ramatra is going to be able to shut him down almost completely. It's very difficult to actually play Ramatra into an Orisa with just the amount of wallness that Orisa has.
Wallness, as in like she doesn't die. She has a brick wall. Honestly, I think we should make that word meta.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it pretty accurately describes the situation, but
Speaking of not having any wall in this, Jaquizas is going to fall just to a stray headshot, and that's going to be the next fight for UMD, but they take it quickly, they don't lose anybody, and Arcadia storing these ults. I mean, look at this. The Sojourn ult and the wall. We don't talk about a Symmetra wall enough as an ultimate, because not only is it absolutely massive and it blocks so much damage, but it's so visually cluttering. You can't see anything. So as we see the Terps walk forward here, Arcadia's going to have to use his ults to sustain. And Terps are going to have to catch up, and that's just not going to happen. As Peep is the first one to fall against the overclock from Arcadia. And it's back to the drawing board for UMD.
The beat came out from UMD, but it just didn't come out just quite soon enough as that Sojourn that you're talking about was able to just pop overclock and immediately pick off speed before UMD was able to react. But we're going to be seeing another pick from that Sojourn onto Pumpkin immediately. Tony going in likely for an ultimate at this point. I would find it very hard to believe that she's able to do anything, but I mean, it's overtime, so you got to try something. Unfortunately, Arcadia able to hold on to the beat until really the last second. They didn't even need it at this point, but able to just use it, make sure that they lose nobody. And I think UMD might have only gotten 1 or 2 kills the entire round.
Yeah.
So Arcadia doing a great job of striking back.
Yeah, Arcadia taking that round, I mean, in similar fashion to the first one, 0 to 100. I mean, very good swaps from Arcadia, knowing that they need to play their game. They can't play into this dive. So they're just going to pick the Symmetra and the Ramatra and just walk forward. Because what you going to do against it? And the Terps didn't do really anything against it. So now it's up to the Terps.
Yeah, and
what are you going to do?
Arcadia, so UMD going back to the Winston, I think that it makes a lot of sense. They were playing very, very well. And Arcadia, we're actually going to be seeing swaps of Torbjorn. Really good against dive comps. You know, the turret able to deal with, you know, Tracer, just put that pressure on, and of course, you know, Torbjorn has a shotgun. If Monkey's getting up in your face, I mean, that's the kind of gun you want to have. But you're seeing Tony jumping up to this high ground, and he's going to fall very low, and is actually going to go down to that Sojourn. Somehow that was a headshot, even though he was facing away. I guess it got the collateral through the body, and still counted as a headshot. That's kind of, I didn't know that was an interaction, but I guess it must be.
That was so much damage coming out there from Arcadia.
Yeah.
And poor Tony just getting absolutely blasted. It's definitely that Torbjorn. That Torbjorn is doing so much right now, and he's only been in the game for like what, 10 seconds or so. But they're gonna come back. They're gonna try this again. And Tony already dropping dangerously low. Can't really contest this point, but Jaquizas has the Lucio on the ropes. But it's Speed to be the first one to go down in the fight. And it's back to drawing board again. Terps gotta find something, and that might be their something right there. The Lucio falling to Tony. Time to regroup. Maybe take this fight with an advantage.
Yeah, it's a big stagger, that Lucio. And as he's only respawning now, if UMD are able to recontest immediately, as that's exactly what they're doing, they might actually be able to get a pick. And onto that Sojourn has been such a thorn in the side of UMD. So, you know, Pumpkin taking out that turret, honestly, that's a kill in and of itself. And this Lucio is very, very close to going down. A beautiful shot from Tony. The little sniper monkey coming out, and it's gonna that's gonna be enough for UMD to flip the point, and we're going to see Tony with the primal. That'll be able to buy Speed and Moose time to come back as well.
But into this next fight we go. Arcadia not wasting any time for popping the Monaco lessons, and now it's time for UMD to respond with the Pulse Bomb, taking out the Torbjorn on the side of Arcadia. It's a mess of a fight. Ults being traded back and forth, and Tony just trying to cause as much disruption as he can with the Primal Rage, and Jaquizas cleans up the fight, finding both supports in the back line. And whew.
Yeah, Jaquizas should be a comedian the way that timing was just perfect. Coming in when all those players are so low and nobody has their eyes towards them, able to pick up 2 for the fight. And I mean, Tony with a masterclass of a primal as well. You saw the way that, you know, it really seemed like that Ramatra wanted to be on point, stalling it out, trying to flip it back, but I mean, Tony was almost knocking him off the map, and just forced Ramatra to accept that he wasn't going to take this point and just wanted to come out with his life. We're seeing a switch onto the Malga, which is supposed to be a counter to Monkey, but Pumpkin almost getting a boop, Speed getting a kill onto that Torbjorn, and that's going to open the doors up for Tony, as he's going to be able to get a pick onto the Moira immediately. We're going to see a peek coming out from UMD, but it's not really going to be enough, I think, for Arcadia, as it's just down to this Malga to flip the point. It's not going to be enough. As Pumpkin gets a boot kill, it's not going to be off the map, but you know, it looked like that's where he was going. So let's count it. I think put it up on the board.
Yeah, and Arcadia realizing that maybe their DPS are just they're not giving what needs to be given, and so they are going to decide to take the swap, as well as this Maga, but 84% in counting on this point, and the Terps do have ults. Even though Jaquise is the first one to fall in this fight, he does come back extremely quickly, and Moose is going to pop the Kiriko Rush to sustain on this point, but Pumpkin falls in the background, and there's just so much damage coming from too many sources, and Moose just can't keep people alive. Now UMD are just going to fall.
Yeah, and I think this is a very important opportunity for UMD. They should be able to swap off the Monkey that is kind of hard countered by Malga. So I would not be surprised to see Tony switching off, but it looks like he might just stay. He is 80% to Primal, and we've seen how strong he is, especially on this map. It's very believable that he might get a boot kill or two. So just staying on the Primal is a huge pick. So we're gonna see him continue to force Winston into Malga, and now taking up to 70%. This is probably going to be our last fight of the map. With only Jaquise with an ultimate out of the side from Arcadia, we're also going to see the Primal likely, as that's going to come out, and the beat actually comes out before, Lucio dies before the beat can come out. That's a huge pick for UMD. A lot of healing coming out from Arcadia is going to be able to keep them alive though, and Tony's just kind of running for his life, and he's going to fall to the high noon with 90% now. I'm not sure that UMD is going to be able to touch. I think this map might be going to Arcadia.
Moose falling first in that fight is absolutely crucial. And now Moose being attacked by this Tracer in the spawn, and she's gonna miss the pulse spawn, but she will take down Speep. What a one clip! And Jaquise is gonna go for the touch, but there's a Moggle on the point. They need to clear out these supports and the Maga as well, but the Maga just has so much agency, so much health, and Tony's back on the ball. Jaquise is desperately looking for anything, any sort of picks or anyone out of position. This Lucio might be it. Goes in, doesn't find the kill as Moose falls to the opposing Tracer, and it's desperation time for the Terps as Sojourn pops the overclock looking for any kind of damage, but the Maga just in her face and she's gonna fall. Jaquise just throws the pulse bomb, doesn't find anything, and the recall doesn't get off. And Arcadia,
Wow.
off of the back of that round 2 swap, are gonna find this first map, and that is quite devastating.
Yeah, I've never seen, you know, this is looking like a ranked game, the way that, you know, the tanks are just going back and forth with the counter swapping, but, I mean, yeah, this Malga was a great pick. Basically shut down UMD's game plan. A very smart decision from them. I completely agree with it. We're going to see, yeah, a play of the game from the Malga itself. Great tracking. It was able to get, I believe, Jaquise at the end of that play as well, and it's a sad day when you see Malga in high level. I'm not a fan.
I'm a Maga hater. I'm
yeah,
sorry, y'all.
But what are you gonna do? He's just so strong, especially against Winston. He really can just stand there, and against a tank. I mean, you've got bubble, but as soon as that bubble goes down, and it's gonna go down pretty quickly because you've got like what 150 shots.
Yeah.
In your barrel. So as soon as that bubble goes down, Malga basically doesn't die because he's just taking Winston's health.
Maga just, I mean, like you said, Winston doesn't really do all that much damage to a Maga. I mean, he's got so much HP, and he's got that healing damage reduction thing, like aura or whatever, like the shout, like during Queen Shout, but like on steroids. And so he just don't die. And so as Winston, you can try to play around him, but if he puts himself in your face, what you gonna do about it?
Yeah, exactly. He can just charge you down with his little, you know, charge ability, and if he knocks you down as Winston, you may as well take your hands off your keyboard.
Kiss your life goodbye.
Yeah,
it's a goodbye.
So a very smart switch from Arcadia, going to be able to take this first round, and that's a huge momentum swing for them. I mean, it really seemed in that first round that Arcadia maybe didn't have anything for the Winston, maybe didn't have anything for UMD at all, but able to switch around Tony. Great, it was a great job, and they're able to win the first map for it. So
yeah, I think, like, I mean, you mentioned it before, the Maga pick was just absolutely perfect there, and then it's really on UMD now. UMD needs to learn how to adapt. They need to maybe. Yeah. I think Tony plays Maga, but I think we pointed it out. He was too close to his primal to swap. Yeah. So I mean, at some point something's got to give, and I guess it just didn't reach that point yet.
Yeah, I think that I would expect the most likely outcome, especially if we see a brawl map. I know that this team really likes King's Row, Would not be surprised if that was the next map that we saw. But I think that what would be very likely is if we saw like an Orisa coming out, because she does now counter Malga on release initially. Malga had the advantage, but now that Fortify is able to stop the critical hits from Malga's fire, and therefore able to stop the lifesteal.
Yeah.
She can actually do a really good job shutting him down, and she's very strong in this current meta. So that is probably what I would have my eyes on for this next match.
I believe next map is Escort.
Okay.
So I think you know what that means, right? So
yeah. If you let UMD take you on Escort, we're gonna be seeing Circuit Royale.
Circuit Royale. Yeah.
I mean,
Old
this
faithful.
is Speep's playground. UMD did lose last week, but I mean,
that was the first loss I've seen
yeah,
ever, actually, on Circuit Royale.
Yeah, I've seen probably more matches on Circuit Royale than I can count from UMD, and I'm just so used to just, Speep clicking heads, Jakeesis being, the silent killer with those with that Hanzo able to get the recon. That's also where we're going to be seeing Tony with his, his trademark Sigma. So, yeah, this is exactly where UMD wants to be, and I would be quivering on my booties. Yeah,
my booties.
If I was Arcadia. Is that what Knights wear? Do Knights wear boots? Is that what you call them?
Booties?
Yeah, I think they wear
those, like,
booties.
small boots. I don't.
I feel like Knights wear boots.
Knights? Oh,
No.
yeah. I know what you're talking
Arcadia.
about.
Yeah,
okay.
I think the Arcadia players are wearing some booties right now, and I think that they're quivering in them for sure.
Yeah. But I think we are going to go into Circuit Royale very soon here. So we're probably just gonna see, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
the Widow, the Hanzo.
Yeah, this is UMD's comfort pick. I would be very surprised if we see anything on this map, at least from UMD, that we see. I would be very surprised if we see anything that we haven't seen a million times from UMD. But I've seen some interesting counterplay from enemy teams. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Arcadia has been theory crafting ways to get around the Speep Widow. We've seen even like May rush comps against UMD. So.
And speaking of the Widow, I mean, here's Speed from last week. He is, I mean, this isn't exactly Circuit Royale, but he is a monster on this Widow. And really, let's talk about the ways to counter a Widow. I mean, let's see. Tracer, another Widow.
We've seen a lot of Genjis.
Yeah, that's kind of it. So
yeah. We'll see very, very soon, but I mean, Speep is just so scary on Widow. So there it is. Pip on that Genji. We've seen this before from Arcadia, I believe. I'm not sure how it went for them, but I mean, they probably lost. UMD is so strong on this map. So
yeah, but like you said, we are actually gonna see a Genji, I believe. Now Arcadia is on attack, so they do have time to swap. Yeah, but that Genji is something that I wouldn't take away from them. That is a good thing to fall back on.
Yeah, and it has some really good synergy with Kiriko as well. Normally you see Zenyatta as like the second healer. Oh, Speep. Absolutely shutting down the counter allegations. He's going to be able to get that pick on the Widow as she's just leaving spawn. And that's a huge confidence boost as well. So if this is telling of what we're gonna see, I think we might just be seeing a little bit of this Peep show. But like I was saying, I think that the Kiriko with the Genji has some great synergy, as Kiriko is a pretty good counter for Widow as well. So Tony gonna be able to get the rock onto that Genji to shut him down, and UMD looking pretty strong so far.
Speaking of the Genji, I mean, it happened quite a bit ago, but he did just kind of Superman fall and die. He almost took down Jakeesis, but I do want to talk about Arcadia's backline right now. Look at this. Baptiste Kiriko with no Zenyatta. That's the big thing I want to talk about. Zenyatta is crucial on these maps, not only for shield break, but just for extra damage. And without that Discord orb, I don't think it's possible for Arcadia to break through this defense. And as I say that, Jakeesis and Speep finding one apiece. And this hold is so difficult to break if you don't have a Zenyatta.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we saw how powerful Zenyatta is just a second ago. Speep was able to basically two-shot Sigma. I mean, Widow shouldn't be shooting tanks. and Speed is just getting those picks almost single-handedly. And you know that's why Arcadia wants this Kiriko is to help shut down Speed, but the problem is that they might have a hard time getting Tony off of his objective.
Yeah, like you said, Widow shouldn't be shooting tanks, but Zenyatta makes it possible. And as Tony lifts him up into the air, just makes it an absolute shooting lane for Speed, and Speed will find one. And it's back to the drawing board for Arcadia. They are coming up on these ults, but I'm sorry, I don't see a world in which you break through this defense without a Zenyatta. I know I sound like a broken record, but he just does so much damage and offers so much utility.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be seeing Pip go for... keep an eye on him. He's got the Dragon Blade. Might be seeing... we see the pings coming out onto Widow as well. So Pip might be going for a Dragon Blade play. And it's actually... The pressure is going to force UMD to back up behind this corner. Chiquise is going in for the Dragon Strike to open up the fight. We're going to see a little bit of an ult up coming out from both teams, but Chiquise is going to fall, maybe getting a little bit too ahead of himself as Pip's going to be able to pick him off. And UMD now has to face this blade. Fortunately, Moose with the Zenyatta Transcendence is going to be able to shut it down, but that just opens up the window for Arcadia. Now they're using a window of their own, and we might even see a Flux coming out, but it's not going to find anybody from Arcadia. And UMD just needs to hold strong here as the cart is getting very close to that objective.
Arcadia using quite literally every single ult just to push the cart here, and Terps are literally going to lose 2 people. And now Tony, standing stalwart on this cart, knows the Sigma doesn't have rock, lifts up the backline into the air, forces the lamp, is not going to find anyone, but in the backline, that pesky Genji is going to get taken out, and now it's UMD back in control.
I think I saw a 360 out of Speed as well. I mean, he is on his game right now, able to get that the pick onto the enemy Widowmaker. And now with only 20 seconds left, we're going to be seeing the recon coming out from Speed as well. So not only do they have to push into Speed, but they're going to have to do it with Speed with wall hacks. So it's going to be very, very dangerous, this entry onto Arcadia. They need to be very careful, play behind that Sigma shield. But it's going to go down, and Chiquise is just going to get the pick onto the Tracer, and that means that's going to be a huge lift off of the pressure that's coming out to Speed. He's just going to shut down the enemy Sigma.
That was a crazy shot on the Sigma, but at the end of the day, he is going to fall. But his team is just going to... the team is going to finish what he started, and that is Terps full holding on Circuit Royale.
Yeah,
that's very, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is probably one of the most full holdable maps in the game, especially because you are able to stall so much time on that first point, and if you play it right, UMD often, playing with the Sigma up on that car, taking the first fight very, very early, genuinely allows them to get 2 fights out of this first objective. So, especially with Sigma, with the Sigma poke comp, 2 fights often brings you into that overtime.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's just poking and prodding back and forth, looking for any kind of advantage you can find. And we talk about this second point being the worst thing in the world to crack, but that first point too is very difficult, especially when rounding that corner where there are so many sightlines for the defense and very little for the offense. It is very hard, but it's also well done to the Terps for controlling those sightlines and making sure that Arcadia can't play the game they want to play.
Yeah.
Now, as we go into the defense here, we're not going to see a Widow. We're going to see the Hanzo and the Genji and the Kiriko Lucio, which are not things you see often on this map.
Okay, you got to keep your eye out for Chiquise. We're actually going to be seeing...
no way.
We're going to be seeing a pharmacy from UMD walking out of spawn. And, I mean, it's actually the perfect read. I don't know if they expected Arcadia to be dropping the Widowmaker instead for the Hanzo, but that means that there are no hit scan players out of Arcadia. The best they have is, what, Kiriko? Maybe Ramatra?
Like, maybe Hanzo.
So... this could be a great job. This could be a great matchup for Chiquise, but Speed is going to fall immediately in this fight. And unfortunately, though, Tony and Pumpkin able to get picks of their own, and they're able to flip this fight now. Chiquise is going in, and okay, he's going to go down, but Tony's there to pick up pick up that kill, and Pumpkin getting a second kill for this fight. That's going to be
That's a 45-second
yeah.
point break. Or not point break, but like fight win. And now they're just going to swap back onto their quote-unquote normal things, while Arcadia just decides, yeah, we need that Widowmaker. And ooh, Speed missing the shot, but not getting punished for it. This Widow 1v1 is so important.
Yeah, and we know that Arcadia doesn't really feel confident because they didn't come out with the Widow, but it was actually a great choice from UMD to pick out that Pharah because it forces Arcadia to go onto those hit scan, and they're actually going to fall for it. Speed looking for the pick onto the Widow, not quite going to be able to find it, but very, very close. But, Arcadia is down their Soldier, and they don't really have a lot of offensive pressure, and they're just going to go down.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. That is...
Wish we could get a timer on that. That was, what, 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
Say, yeah, woo. I want to say that was about... What? I want to say, okay, 4 minutes on defense.
5 minutes, I think.
Is it 5 minutes?
I think it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes on the initial... No, I think it's 5 minutes for the initial fight.
I'll take your word for it.
Plus, what, 45 seconds?
Yeah, 45 seconds, maybe give or take.
Give or take a little bit for overtime, a little bit for our own human error. So
yeah, it's like a
overall,
6-minute game.
They were probably playing for 6 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, Terps Esports picks Circuit Royale. So 1-1 in this series. UMD finally finding their footing just a little bit, and that's really, really, it's really good to see because momentum, of course, obviously, mental health, mental fortitude, whatever you want to call it. It's so important to get just at least one map back. And as we go into the next one, what is it again? It's
going to be probably Saravasa. We might see
Flashpoint. That's the word for it.
We might see New Junk City, but I've heard little birdie has told me that nobody really likes New Junk City.
No, I hate New Junk City.
Yeah, I think it's really annoying. I think that the points are sometimes a little bit difficult to fight, and it's very easy to just get swept and go into like a back and forth, just kind of waiting for your turn to have an objective. But
literally, please.
Yeah, so we're probably going to be seeing Saravasa, but something I want to talk about just before we get there is, I was talking about, UMD bringing out the same thing that we see every single time, and I've eaten my words a little bit, like call it like pumpkin pie or something, because we actually saw Pumpkin on
the Baptiste.
On Baptiste, yeah. Normally just playing Lucio, but forced onto the main support.
Quite literally forced onto the main support because C3, who is the usual Baptiste player, is not here.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it looked great. Pumpkin hit a lot of shots.
Sure.
We saw him in the kill feed quite a bit. So,
props to being flexible as a player is so. It's not what's the word for it? Acknowledged enough. Being flexible is so important to these fights, and Pumpkin clearly is that. He is that guy.
Yeah,
he's that guy.
So love to see
the dog in him.
Yeah, love to see UMD being able to cover each other. That's what you love to see out of a team, just in general, and it really goes to show how well these players play with each other. So,
and going into the next map, we're gonna have to see how they can cover for each other again. I don't believe that they play BAP on Saravasa.
No, I think they normally have a Lucio. So especially on Flashpoint, because
you need a Lucio.
Yeah,
on Flashpoint.
Almost
it comes free with your Xbox.
Yeah, I think you get like 1.5 more fights or something. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
I'm sure there's some
how many more fights. Yeah, if there are any math majors out there, if there are any math majors out there, go freaking find a corner and do your silly little math. But I mean, the amount of value that Lucio has just by allowing you to get more fights, especially when there are so few, the way that the timer ticks up so quickly on Flashpoint.
We could definitely do this map. Okay, hold on. So if there's 2 fights per point, right?
Sure.
And hypothetically, 2 fights per point, and Lucio gives a what's the speed boost? I'm gonna assume it's like a 30% speed boost.
Sure.
What is
I feel like generally, without Lucio, you get like 2 fights. And with Lucio, you generally get more like 3.
Maybe like 2.5, because like the last one's kind of a scramble.
Yeah, so
I could see that.
I mean, generally, you increase your chances more than just a character existing should. I mean, it feels like it feels like on release Lucio when he had like universal healing or something, and so you'd see him just like wall riding on the top of the map, just literally just existing so his aura could get the healing for his team. And I mean that's kind of what you see with Lucio nowadays, and we are going to be seeing Suravasa. We're going to be seeing Tony on the Zarya as well, and that's actually going to work out pretty well into the Malga.
What the heck are we seeing here from Arcadia? This is quite inspirational, if I do say so, but Sombra Tracer, definitely a combo not to be trifled with. I mean, it's a dive frontline with a brawl backline, and it's going to be interesting to see, especially how Arcadia plays this. But as the Maga walks forward, he drops so low and has to run away. And Terps have controlled this point, and they're not going to let these players rest. And,
what
that
a beautiful
deflect was
Yeah,
sick.
I know. Oh, chunks down Malga so much. Tony gonna be able to come in for the kill, but I mean his health bar just deleted, and I really hope we can get a replay on that because that was very satisfying to watch.
Yeah, let's get a replay. All right, get ready, everybody. Let's see the hit marker. Oh my gosh!
Oh, it's so beautiful, and getting the dash onto Pip as well. Just so confident Jaquise is on that Genji, especially when he has that support from Zarya. Just being able to say, dying, you don't do that. At least for a couple seconds, like that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we're gonna be seeing a switch onto Ramatra, looking like game one. Arcadia is they're gonna be playing the counter swap game, and they're actually doing a pretty good job of baiting out these bubbles from Tony, forcing him off the point. And yeah, UMD is forcing him all of the space, and Arcadia is actually going to be able to get the point flip, and it's not for free. As that enemy Ramatra is going to be falling.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it is the Terps that do come out on top. But Pip, oh my gosh, it's Pip and our Aruta. I'm so sorry if I butchered that on the Tracer.
Oh,
but Tony and Jaquise just, yeah, it's a bloodbath. And Tracer could try to get out, but it's Jaquise. And now 80% on the point. Looking like last fight territory here, but down their Tracer at the very start of the fight. And the Terps do have these ults, and I think Arcadia is just going to decide to smartly back off and play.
Yeah, they're going in for it, but they go get the call a little bit too late, and the boop, they're not going to be able to touch. A boop did come out from Pumpkin, but honestly, I'm not sure that it mattered. Jaquise is going to fall, though. So UMD forced him back up, and they're probably going to be giving up a good bit of momentum on this next objective, because they need to wait for Jaquise to come back. He does have Nano Blade though, and we're actually, sorry, just normal Blade. There's no Ana on this team, but we're going to be seeing almost 5 ultimates coming out from UMD. So they're going to look very strong for this fight as long as they're able to get the full regroup. But Arcadia already in control of this objective. We're going to be seeing an ult dump coming out from both teams now. The beat coming out, and it's going to come out from the enemy team too. Lucio almost got Ajax, but not quite. But it doesn't matter. Sojourner is going to go down immediately, and nobody from Church Esports is particularly low. It's just Kiriko, but she's got plenty of get out of jail free cards, so she's going to be just fine. And UMD is going to be able to take this first fight. It looks like.
Yeah, holy crud, the ult economy just absolutely blew up there. Terps using 4 ults in that fight just to isolate and take out one target, which did happen to be that Sojourn, who did in fact have overclock and was actively overclocking. So good on Terps to recognize that that is the main threat that needs to get taken out. But maybe not so good on Terps for using so many ults, and Pumpkin almost getting spawn camped. Oh no!
That was a great pick from Tracer. Going in right as the monkey used his jump, so he's not able to peel for the Lucio. And we're going to be seeing some ultimates coming out from UMD, but is it going to be enough? They're only even now as Lucio is going to go down. That's going to give an advantage over to Arcadia, but they're falling very, very low. The Tracer has no support as her recall is out, and everybody's falling so low. They actually force the Annihilation coming out from Ramatra, but it is going to be able to take out Pumpkin. So
that is, you will take that.
Yeah,
to force
that's
Annihilation.
That's a great trade.
That is amazing. And even though Pumpkin does get picked in that fight, he makes it very worth it actually when he comes back there, takes down the Tracer, and forces Ramatra ult. That is absolutely crazy. Because now we're seeing a broken ult economy. This is crazy. The housing bubble from 2008 just blew up, and yeah, now both teams, both families are struggling to find a house. And now, okay, well, Speed's struggling to find a life, so even though Jaquise will answer back with a kill onto the Lucio, it seems to be a lost fight for UMD. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. It's 3v3 right now on the point, but Pip, oh my gosh, just finding that pick on Moose, and that's going to spell the end of the fight for Terps, and it's now 78% on this point.
Yeah, UMD needs to regroup. They have the Lucio, they have Winston, especially with Primal. It is possible that they can touch, but they're gonna have to be very quick. And I'm not sure if they have it. It might be Speed going in to get the touch. JKeys is going to be able to get the touch, able to proc overtime, and they're going to be able to go in as well. Monkey has Primal 3 to commit to this fight as much as he wants. Pip falling so low. Is he going to be able to fall? Looks like Moira is forced to use Coalescence, but it's still not going to be able to keep him up, actually, as she's forced to multitask onto the point, and it's still not enough either way, as the Lucio is going to go down, and Arcadia getting team wiped. Forced back to the drawing board. They still have to go through Pumpkin's beat in this fight, as well as Moose with the Kitsune rush. So Arcadia, I would say that they have a little bit of an uphill battle going into this next fight.
That was absolutely crazy from Terps, just to recognize, like, hey, yeah, it's last fight, but you need to slow it down. You need to, like, take a deep breath and, like, realize, like, it's not over. Like, you have a contest, and it's really not over because Arcadia is walking onto this point, and Tony gets stuck by the pulse bomb and taken out. It is a 2v2 between the Ramatra Tracer and the Sojourn. Kiriko and popping the overclock, but he's going to fall. That is a blunder and a half, and now it's up to both Moose and JKeys on this Tracer to stall the plane, wait for the teams to come back. The beat comes out. This beat is so huge. As the Moira goes dangerously low, it is going to fall to Moose. It's Tony back on the point. The beat comes out from Arcadia to sustain this fight. 4v5 right now in favor of the Terps.
Yeah, it's not enough for them to. It's not enough for them to just stay alive. As UMD has all the offensive pressure, and both of their healers are alive, so they're able to sustain themselves. So they don't have a problem. They don't even necessarily need beat right now. So many of these players falling so low. Pip is going to be able to fall, and it's just back and forth. But it looks like UMD is coming out on top, as they just need to find this Ramatra. If they're able to do that, that might be it.
Oh my gosh!
We see the hack coming out from this. Sombra isn't going to be enough to find this Moira. She's got her healing orb.
Wow, this Moira stalling so well for Arcadia to get back, but Tony the hero, he's back on the Winston, and JKeys takes down the Moira. The pulse bomb comes out, and it's the Lucio just trying to. This is, oh my god, this is a fight for the ages.
Yeah, nobody wants to give this up at all. We're even seeing a Doomfist coming out from Arcadia, but he's not going to be able to touch in time, and so UMD is going to be able to take the point. Oh my god!
I need to take a breath. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the air pressure dropped just from how many breaths were taken in this room. As that was maybe the craziest fight I've seen. That was the craziest fight I've seen in a while.
And like, well played. To I mean, honestly, everyone, right? Like, there's really no one person who contributes to that fight, and it really goes to show the communication from Terps. Like, that was crazy to know that your teammate has the point, that you can hop off the point and get your health back, so they can stall the point out. That is something else. And now, Sweep on this Sombra with the EMP is going to take out the Cassidy in the backline. Even though he will fall, it's still even on the point. The Kitsune ult is going to come out. Tony, you have to use this Primal, but he may decide against it if the Terps come out on top. And as this 3v2 sort of comes to an end, I do believe he's going to choose to save it. Yeah. And that's the third point-ish. First capture going to the Terps once again.
Yeah, Arcadia needs to find something quick because, if they lose this point, I mean, if they lose any point, but, UMD has already taken control of this one, that's going to be it for this map. So they need to be able to find something for UMD, and they need to find it now. But they've got, another uphill battle. We're seeing it, a huge MP for Tony. Oh, what a crazy reaction. Going to be able to keep himself alive. It looked like he might have gotten outplayed, but a beautiful Primal being able to save him. And oh my god. I mean, I really hope we can get a replay on that. That was sick. That was so cool. Getting speared out of his jump, and yeah, just like I asked for, we're gonna be able to see it. And I don't think that he was able to get a boop as JKeys stole that one. I think the Cassidy was going off the point, but a beautiful juggle on the Moira.
Oh wow, that was, I mean, like, that is just such good presence of mind to realize, like, oh crud, I'm stunned midair over the water. Like, some people might not even know they were over the water. And as I say it, we go right back into a fight. It looks like Arcadia may be dead in the water, but not so, as the beat and the Coalescence come out to save the Orisa. And even though she does fall later, they do take control of the point.
Yeah, their only pick in this fight is this Toppy. They're going to be able to find Moose, but
Oh my gosh.
you know, they're losing so many players on this point. They need to. They can't just trade one for one. They need to, you know, definitively win. And as UMD is able to flip this point back, I'm not sure they'll be able to find anybody else. It's just going to be this Lucio on point, but he's not going to be able to touch. Pumpkin with the boop. The ball comes in, but I mean, he can only live. He can't really get any picks, and he's going to get hacked and first down as well.
Oh, wow. The Sombra doing so much work off of the Terps. And it's just desperation for Arcadia. And the touch doesn't come in. And the third map in this series goes over to the Terps on Flashpoint. Okay, I just want to talk about the picks there because that was crazy. Because everything went crazy on that second Flashpoint. And then no one went back to like their normal comp, right? Like we had Echo, Sombra, Torbjorn, Cassidy, which like you never really see a Torb, or really a Cassidy. So, I mean, these teams, they're trying to make changes. They want this. It shows that they are hungry for this win.
Yeah, Moose talking in chat. We gotta talk about that second point.
More.
We gotta talk about that. I think it really changed the pace of this map because you know that the first control point was was pretty definitively UMD's. I think I think Arcadia might have been able to flip it at some point, but they weren't really able to win a fight.
Yeah.
And then that second point came out. They were able to force it to 99%. The Ramatra popped his, we saw
the Annihilation.
Yeah. So the point to recap, because so much happened there.
Oh,
I think it was Speeb came in with the overclock, trying to clutch up in the 2v2, but he goes down. But Pumpkin comes in to clean up the kills and it forces Ramatra's Annihilation, and then all hell just broke loose.
Can you imagine if they had Annihilation during that fight?
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been over really quickly. Annihilation thrives in chaos, okay? If no one's looking at the Ramatra, no one realizes how low their health bar gets, and no one realizes that he's like in your face and like punching you.
Yeah.
So,
but I think, I'm going to be honest, I think that they needed to use the Annihilation when they did, because if we were to go back, the Ramatra was very, very low on HP, and I think the Tracer was as well. And, we've seen how slippery Pumpkin can be, so
it's true.
If they weren't able to deal with Lucio absolutely could have cleaned up the fight by himself there. So just popping the Annihilation both for the health and the consistent damage against
and the
Lucio.
fight win.
Exactly.
If it were me, I would have said, screw it, we need to win this fight. Like, we need to take it now.
Yeah, I don't think I would have changed anything either. And then, like you said, nobody really swapped back afterwards. I know that Speep was on the Sombra because, he charged like 88% of EMP, one of the most, one of the biggest ultimates in the game, I would argue. So
yeah, just what a game for both teams. Honestly, what a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the presence of mind, like you were saying. Both from the Orisa saying, EMP is about to come out, so Winston's gonna jump, and getting the prediction right, and then Tony, I don't know. If it was me,
I'd be mad.
I get speared, and it's like, well, back to the spawn room.
If it were me, I would pop Primal and still die. Like I wouldn't click my shit button fast enough.
Yeah, no, you're that's absolutely true. But that was a fantastic game. Like you said, I just need to catch my breath after this. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back for Game 4. And we'll see if UMD is going to be able to close this out.
So, last week, the Terps Overwatch Premier team took a giant bus from Maryland all the way to Ohio in order to compete at the big esports conference LAN tournament. Here, collegiate esports teams from across the country gathered to face the teams they had been playing against online for the past 2 semesters. Except this time, they'd be playing in person, seeing the faces behind the online gamer tags. What followed for the Terps Overwatch team was nothing short of magical. But first, we need to start the story at the beginning.
We're going to see echoes of Game 1 again.
Unfortunate.
The Terps were not doing very well in the BEC regular season last semester. It was fall 2023's academic year at UMD, and their win-loss record in the BEC was 2-6. But in 2024, the Terps came into the spring semester with a new coach, an updated roster, in an energy they brought into the studio that was simply unmatched. In the BEC regular season that semester, they went 6-1. That meant winning 6 best-of-5 collegiate Overwatch matches and only dropping 1 game. Basically, they came back with a vengeance. They even made it to the Nationals in the NECC Champions League, another collegiate tournament running parallel to the big esports conference. By the way, make sure to stick with this video until the end, because there's more to talk about with that NECC Nationals League. But, getting back on track, the Terps began their tournament in Ohio on Friday, and it wasn't just the players that had something to prove. Some of our Overwatch casters, Alex, aka Gumi FTW Casts, and Tomas, aka Dormant Dormat, also tagged along in order to speak as commentators on the big esports conference's broadcast that Friday and Saturday. Like the players, these two came with fantastic energy. And I can say, as their director for the Terps esports streams, I was very proud.
Going to be able to save OS2 anyway, and that's going to be map 1 going to UMD.
And like Tomas said, the first day of BEC group stage matches were filled with nothing but victory for the Terps. In a dominant series of matches that went from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, the team went 5-0 without dropping a single map. The next day of the tournament, the Terps were up against Ohio State University in a best-of-5 match for the semifinals. We streamed this match, go watch it. But spoilers, we beat OSU 3-0, which meant, again, that we didn't drop a single map. It all led to this, our final match against University of Michigan for the BEC Overwatch trophy that the Terps came all this way to fight for. It was a bright and sunny Saturday morning when the team began to take the long walk from the dedicated esports room on the Ohio State University to an off-campus esports arena local to the area. As I walked with them, laughing at their jokes about orangutans and hearing them talk about their plans for the future, I could tell the Terps were ready. Could they go this entire tournament without dropping a single map to any team? The energy was certainly there, as well as the support from the Valorant and Rocket League esports teams that also came along for this trip. Alex was even upstairs on the second floor of the arena, preparing to cast the finals Overwatch game that his home team were about to play. The Terps loaded into their first match, and they won. Second match, they won. Third match, they lost. And that was devastating because they were one match away from not losing a single map of this Overwatch tournament. But then they won their fourth map. And they got their trophy, Overwatch 2 Big Esports Conference LAN Champions. It was really awesome. But the real victory of the trip was that we got back to Maryland safely, with none of the players left behind in Ohio or a place like Breezewood on the trip back home. But the story isn't over yet for our Overwatch team. Tonight, we play against University of New Haven Chargers in the first round of the NECC Champions Overwatch Nationals. So stay tuned to Terps Esports on Twitch or YouTube for that. I've been CJ Lawrence, Broadcast Director for Terps Esports. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be getting into map 4 just in a second now. And so it's going to be push, is that right?
Oh, that sounds right to me. So
Yeah.
probably East
Esperanza, yeah, we see that a lot. We could see, let's see, what are the other ones?
Isn't Esperanza the homeland? Isn't that Portugal?
Yeah.
It's the homeland.
It's the
right
homeland.
There. Yeah.
Represent.
I don't know what I just did.
Yeah.
But
Oh, what are the
anyway.
other ones? What? New Queen Street, we don't see that very often.
That's,
Coliseo. I mean, it works into into the dive comp, into the brawl that UMD likes to play, but I mean, Esperanza just it is probably one of my favorite maps as well. So
really, Esperanza?
yeah, no, I think it's always fun. I play a lot of Winston, so it's
Okay,
a
well,
great
that's
Winston
fair.
map.
Unfortunately, on Esperanza, I find it very annoying because once you lose control of the bot,
Yeah.
like you kind of get stuffed into like either the room on like the left or right side, or like the choke on the left or right side.
Yeah.
If you like lose those fights, and it's like, wow, and then it's like I don't know. Push is just kind of a weird game mode. So
Yeah.
a lot
No,
of people
it-
didn't like it when it first came out. So
Yeah, I think the weirdest part about it for me is that, if you are able to push the bot far enough, winning a fight and then losing a fight, just trading back and forth, actually like that's an advantage for one of the teams. They're going to be able to push the bot a little bit, and if you're not able to get the bot back to the back to reset the checkpoint, that fast spawn can
spawn just kind of ruins
games. It kind of just completely puts the balance on its head of how you need to win, how you need to think about these fights. And I think it's a really interesting concept, having a game mode that forces you to win fights over and over again rather than just winning more fights than the other team. But I don't know. I think maybe a little bit too late. If that was on release, I think that could have been a really interesting dynamic. But I don't know. I feel like players are starting to get used to it, but I feel like the damage is already done. I feel like it's already one of the less favorite game modes.
Speaking of new game modes, isn't there that new game mode coming out soon? I think it's called Clash ? It's the one where it's like there's like a point in the middle, and then if you capture that, you like move outward, and then you capture that again, you move outward again, and there's like another point at the very end, and if you get like 5 point captures, you win.
Yeah,
or if you like fully complete the map.
I think it's kind of like push, but with like control points.
Yeah.
Instead of a robot. It's kind of how I understood it, but yeah, we're getting into Esperanza now, just like we were talking about, and we're going to be seeing an Orisa coming out from Arcadia. I'm interested to see whether UMD is going to just mirror that, because controlling space is very important. But no, of course, it's the Winston. I mean, this is UMD's bread and butter. And look at Arcadia as well, coming out with a pharmacy. But Speed, does he hear us? Is he on the call? Is he's gonna switch on to Soldier?
The Soldier.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Almost the perfect counter. And so that's
wow.
Pip needs to be very careful, and honestly, Zelda, I would say, needs to be even more careful. As if Speed's able to get a line of sight onto you, you can just fall.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting playing a dive comp with a Soldier. It's not really something you see every day. You really don't really see Soldier every day, right? But I think Arcadia is just, they're gonna have trouble with this because their attention is split.
Oh my god!
Speed. Oh my gosh, he is not Metro.
Yeah, able to get, what was that, like 20 shots in a row, back to back, and doesn't look like he's slowing down as he's able to find, he's able to find the BAP, he's able to find the Mercy now. Is he going to be able to find the Ace? Unfortunately, Tracer is going to shut him down, but the Orisa's falling so low, and there's not really any healing to keep her up, so she's just going to fall. The Tracer's still there, but Tracer does not beat Monkey in a 1v1, as Moosey is going to tell Tracer to sit. A punch to the face is gonna put her out cold, looking like Mike Tyson out here.
Oh.
And I mean, UMD is gonna be able to take this first fight.
And now we see the double ferret counter with the Echo and the Soldier. And luckily Arcadia is going to get the hint. They're just going to say, all right, you win. Put their hands up in surrender and just choose to go over to that Soldier. But they are going to stick with that Mercy instead of the Lucio, which honestly might not really work out for them, as the Mercy just doesn't offer as much as that as the Lucio. But as we say it, Aruta takes out Tony's Winston, and Moose desperately trying to find these picks, generally to keep his team up, but he is alone. Where did his team go? Tony, nowhere to be seen. I'm kind of losing track of what's going on in these fights. And as Moose pops the Kiriko rush, the cart keeps moving.
Moose is going crazy, and we can actually hear him in the studio. He is absolutely feeling himself, and I mean, I think he deserved it. He's on like 3 or 4 kills on the round already. So many headshots, and I mean, you can see that smirk. He is here to play.
Oh my gosh. He's putting on a master clinic right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he has been hitting headshot after headshot, and he's going in with these dives and taking out the members of Arcadia because they are just so split right now. The Mercy and the Orisa are alone, but where are their DPS? I mean, like, okay, wait, hold on. I may have spoken way too soon because things are actually working out for Arcadia as UMD is going to fall, question mark ping. I mean, they're going to try to look for this pick, but Chiquizas just can't hit the Cassidy.
And take a look at the
oh my gosh,
the robot as well. This whole time that UMD has been fighting and staggering themselves, Arcadia's just been pushing the cart.
Oh, it's a troll.
They pop Primal for that as well, and I mean, all for negative. If they just sat on the point and dropped the keyboard, they that would have been a better fight for them than what they did. But they need to touch this point now, even though they had such a dominant first fight. This is not a death match. This is there's an objective here. Orisa's just kind of running down these players as well, with that Tracer as well, and Arcadia is going to be able to take the lead.
Yeah, Arcadia getting to this first checkpoint, which is, like we mentioned earlier, a really big advantage for the team that gets it first. Because that early spawn is just so integral to the victories on these maps. And so Arcadia just sort of stomping forward, and I think it is to do with Eruta's Tracer. Eruta's Tracer is honestly popping off right now. He is doing very, very well for themselves, and now it's time for UMD to go. And Tony is going to, fall in the process of that go. But with the Blade, it looks like Terps is finally going to come out on top of one of these fights and wrestle back. Wait, I'm sorry. That's a spot for sure.
Baptiste's playing a little bit of hide and seek out here, but Moose is going to be able to put him down finally. And Speed just looking to get this Tracer, but the Tracer's being so slippery. Is he going to be able to fall? Not quite. Speed able to stay up, only down to like 20 HP or something. Just one punch from the Tracer would have been enough, but I think Speed is feeling just fine. He's got that ride from his orangutan buddy, so he's looking just fine. And Speed running down these players, able to find 3, Pumpkin finding 2 by himself. Speed going to go down, but they're going to be able to trade out this Agresta as well. And this whole time, we were talking about the staggering of UMD earlier, but now it's Arcadia's turn, and UMD is just pushing this car as they're still chasing down this Tracer.
And here's a replay on that dive. I mean, look at this coordination between Tony, Speed, and Jaquez. It's just jumping onto that Cassidy, ripping the healing away from him with the bubble. And now Arcadia going back to the Maga.
Yep.
What do we think about this?
Tony tried to force Monkey into Maga earlier, and it didn't really work out. But now he's got Primal, so what I would expect to happen is that he's going to pop Primal this fight, maybe overcommit to a fight just to have an opportunity to use that Primal, and then just switch off next fight. But we're seeing this Maga playing very aggressive, almost looking like a Monkey himself, as he's just going to be running down the backline of UMD, but it's not going to be enough, as UMD's not going to lose anybody in this fight. Actually, they were able to bait out the lamp too, and they still have an ultimate advantage even after all of that. And you can see UMD is UMD's locked in here.
Yeah, it's looking very, very doable, especially with Speed on the Sojourn, and Moose also having the Kiriko rush for this last fight, while Arcadia is sort of down in the dumps when it comes to that economy. And as the cart walks forward, Arcadia is just going to choose to give the lead away, and with 3.5 minutes left on the clock, that may prove to be huge.
Yeah, I love that Kitsune rush. Saying, hey, Arcadia, you can stop us if you want. You can stop us from getting this point, but we're gonna have an advantage in this fight. So why don't you guys just sit back and let's have this? And that's exactly what Arcadia is gonna do. So Yoonki doesn't really need to push the card anymore. Like you said, there's only 3 minutes. That's pretty reasonable, I would say, to just keep Arcadia off off their own barricade. But Tony needs to be very careful about this Malga, as he's going to opt to fight the backline of Arcadia, but they're already able to take out most of UMD, so UMD needs to group up, and we're probably going to see a swap from Tony, because we saw what happens when you force the Monkey into Malga. I eat my words, is he's gonna stick to it, but if UMD loses this fight, probably only 2 minutes to push the card back themselves, is Arcadia is going to be able to is going to be able to take this fight. You can see this Tracer hiding in a little bit of a corner, trying to get the jump onto Jaquez's, but Jaquez's can't really recall now because he's waited too long to get the recall, and he's not going to get the health back. So many ults coming out onto Tony, but the B is going to come out from Pumpkin. It's not enough, as Deadeye is going to shut down both of those players.
Oh, there's so much damage coming out inside of that Mogul ult, and the Deadeye just makes it a meat grinder. And Terps are going to fall and give away the lead again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what is going on? Can they just not deal with the Maga? Is it just like maybe a miscommunication with like, hey, Tony swap, and he's like, no. Oh.
Well, okay, there were at least in this fight, that last fight, you know, there were a lot of ultimates coming out from Arcadia. They used like 3 on it, and now it's UMD's turn to use their ultimates. Speep is going to be able to find one. Gets the Guardian Angel. Mercy, normally she can be very, very tricky to kill with that, but Speep is just going to be able to gun her down. That's 3 on the fight already. Is he going to be able to find this Tracer? Not quite, but you know, Moosey's there to tell you to sit, and that's going to be another fight for UMD. They should be able to get the robot back to the midpoint, but they still need to win, you know, another fight because, you know, they gave up the lead in that last fight.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the uphill battle for the Terps as we go back to the midpoint position of the map, because now this is at least 2 or 3 more fights that must be won in order to even consider reaching over 100 meters. And as Tony dives into the back line, he's looking for this Baptiste, and Speep finds him. An amazing dive coming out from the boys on the Terp squad. And even though Speep is going to fall to the pulse bomb, I think this is 1 out of those 3 fights. And
yeah.
Ooh, it's looking good for the Terps as they are going to save up their ultimates, banking on that Kiriko rush, which worked in the past. But remember, Speed did fall in that fight, so he's going to be late.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up the continuing rushes that we saw earlier, because Arcadia doesn't really have the choice to wait for the engage. They're kind of forced now with only 20 seconds left on the point. They're kind of forced to, you know, fight this. But UMD, you can see that they're maybe a little bit tentative. They don't want to go into this Malga. He can just burn down, especially with the window, but he's just going to be able to jump right through it. Tony going to be able to get the pick onto both. Speed getting the pick onto the Cassidy. They just, they can't give away the point though. And Tony going to be able to show why, you know, Winston's ultimate is so powerful. All the movement, they're going to be able to get the res onto the Cassidy, but that means that Malga has no support. They're able to get the robot. Are they going to be able to get him over the line? It's going to be very, very close. But with the longer overtime spawns, I think UMD might just have it as long as they don't walk off the point. They need to stay on and just keep on pushing. But Jay Keys is going to be able to pick up 2.
Oh my gosh.
And 2-1, no meters left. The Doofus is not going to be able to touch, and that's going to be a map win for UMD.
And that's the series.
Yeah.
That's 3-1 over to the Terps, and ending it in very suspenseful fashion, if you will. And, I mean, hey, I guess you can. Fine. You can play Winston against Amagar. You win, Tony. Are you happy? You can.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure that's gonna annoy, you know, all of my ranked legends out there, because at least in my games, you see Amalga and you just go back to spawn. There's kind of no point in playing Winston, but maybe if you're Tony, that just doesn't apply. You know, if you know, I think the flow chart is, you know, if Malga swap. If Tony,
if Maga,
don't swap.
Okay.
I think
Tony, if Maga.
Yeah. So
what's like the coding lingo for that? I don't actually do comp sci.
I'm a math major.
Okay,
I don't.
Well, I know the science one. It's if then because.
Yeah.
You know, for like a hypothesis. So
sure.
Let's go with that.
If Tony, then don't swap because when. I think.
Oh wow!
I think
that actually works.
Yeah. Maybe I should be a scientist.
My hypothesis has been proven.
Yeah.
So
wait, that was my hypothesis.
Sorry, his hypothesis.
Yeah, come on.
Whatever, man. run the null test. Run the NST thing.
Yeah. Keep going.
No. I'm done.
Yeah. No, but great stuff from UMD. And I just one last thing that I want to talk about is, you know, UMD looked very strong on that map, but you know, they were able to get the fight win. They were kind of making it look like a deathmatch, and it almost cost them. I don't know if you noticed, at the end there, Malcolm was kind of running away with the robot. UMD got lost a little bit on what they're trying to do, and Malcolm was almost able to snatch the win right under their noses. Fortunately, Tony had the primal active, and so he was able to go back for the robot, but if he didn't have that primal active, we could have seen a completely different map.
Yeah. I mean, look, against Amaga, what you have to do is you have to go for that backline, because there is no way in hell you are killing that big, beefy man. And so you just dive the backline, you force out the resources, and I think, honestly, their dives have been so clean. Speep and Jakizis, the Baptiste melted right before our eyes, like without even using his immortality field. That's like unheard of at this point. And oof, like just
and
really well
you could see that UMD was really, really nervous about that dive because they knew Baptiste had his window activated, and Tony fell to like 200 HP or something
Yeah,
just on the
scary.
dive. Lost like 2/3, 3/4 of his health just on the dive, but because his healers were there and they were able to just melt down the Baptiste, they weren't able to get that last 200, and he was able to get his primal off. And that I think that, like you said, the dive onto the healers was what was able to close this map out.
Yeah. So very well played to both teams.
Yeah.
Well played to Arcadia, but this does mean that we do move on in the NECC bracket.
Yeah.
I believe next is semis.
Semis. Yes,
So
that was quarters. So
semis,
we'll
and
be
then
going over
the
to semis
finals.
now. Yep.
So hopefully we see you guys there. I
Fingers
would
crossed.
love to.
I know that the players are flying out to Texas.
Oh, yes.
For a big tournament next week. So we're not going to be here next Thursday. We might see you guys earlier in the week. So keep posted for that. But you know, either way, it's been a great game today.
Yeah.
But I need a nap or something.
I know,
I need a
right?
nap
Me
before
too.
I go to sleep because I just need any rest that I can get. What an exciting match. That's going to be it from us in the studio. I've been Tomas.
And I've been Gumi, aka Alex. And we will see you guys when we see you next time. Peace out.